Boxing is a theater of the unexpected, quoted by the famous commentator Larry Merchant. And like in the square stage of boxing, you always have your protagonist and antagonist, your hero and villain, a fighter that one loves to hate, which subliminally will cause masses to be physically and emotionally invested in watching their demise or watching them rise and conquer. In this video, I'll cover the biggest villains in the sport and how they were branded as the villain. With that being said, let's start the video. Even though Hay was known for his trash talking, in spring of 2009, he would take it an atmosphere higher in the build-up with his would-be cancelled fight against Vladimir Klitschko.
I'm going over to Germany to knock out Vladimir Klitschko and watch it live and exclusive on Setanta Sports.
Hay wearing an incredibly graphic t-shirt, which I cannot show, of Hay holding the heads of both the brothers, Vladimir and Vitaly, as what remains of their bodies laying on the canvas. Since this t-shirt was met with many outlets covering it, Vladimir was embarrassed and angered by the depiction, challenged Hay in the ring on the basis of that. Keep in mind that Hay was not the mandatory and not even ranked in the top 10 by Ring Magazine.
Good, healthy, no problems, no injuries. I'm just raring to go. Preparation couldn't have gone better than it's gone so far.
The fight in June 2009 was ultimately cancelled due to Hay pulling out due to an injury fairly late into the promotion of the fight, with thousands of fans already booking flights to Germany and the TV network Setanta losing millions in lost revenue they invested in advertising and broadcasting rights to the event, which ultimately led to them dissolving and many to lose their jobs. With that being cancelled and a September matchup just barely not being made according to the BBC's lack of interest between Hay versus Vitaly Klitschko on September 12th, Hay versus Valuev was made shortly, which Hay cranked it into full gear, mocking the heavyweight champ Valuev, destroying his promotional cutout, then in interviews calling him the ugliest person he had ever seen, really going in on the appearance of the champion.
Ugly as hell, is probably one of the ugliest human beings. He is the ugliest human being I've ever seen in the flesh. You see these horror movies and you think, oh, no one can look like that. No, this guy truly does.
Hay would go on to defeat Valuev.
It must feel like it's paper darts against the mouth. Oh, he's got it going with a left hook. What a finish here. Hay gets to Valuev, who definitely did a silly dance there. He nearly took down the giant.
After an embarrassing loss to Vladimir,
As you can see, I broke my toe, so I was unable to push off with my right foot, which is very frustrating.
When did you break your toe?
I broke about 3 weeks ago. I've been getting local anesthetics in it to try to numb it.
the villain role would pick up in the build-up to his fight with Chisora, where Hay cracked him with a bottle, which sparked a big promotion for the fight.
Oh, big left hand and right! Tremendous shots from Hay! But he couldn't stand up! And he's gone again! I don't think he's going to get up this time!
Hay would meet his ultimate match in the build-up to his fight with Tyson Fury. At that time, Fury was definitely perceived to be a villain after his promotion of the Steve Cunningham fight.
I hope you understand that. I hope your trainer understands that. I hope your wife understands that. I hope everybody understands it. Because I mean business. I didn't come to the USA to play around and play tip-tap boxing. I came here to do demolition jobs on cruiserweights. That's what I do.
We heard
I'm
you.
not named after a battleship or whatever.
Best man on the
Tyson Fury's the name and fighting's the game.
Okay.
End of.
This fight would also get cancelled due to another Hay injury. After retiring from the sport, Hay would come back and we'll see once again an entertaining promotion in the lead up against cruiserweight champion Tony Bellew.
Them two guys you fought last two were a joke, and you're robbing everybody who pays to come in the arena. Listen, you predicted BJ was going to beat me, didn't you? You predicted he was going to beat. He got smashed, and you see you're going to get smashed too. I don't care how deep, how dangerous you think you are.
I think everyone knows what I think of Billy. This man reminds me of the bad guys from 80s/early 90s movies. You know those guys. The bad guys in those movies where when you finally see them lose at the end of the movie, it's the most satisfying thing to watch. What can I say here? In and out the ring, Billy came in as your ideal 80s movie villain, with all his antics and then some, and went out exactly like your 80s villain, being put away in the most ironic fashion. That being Billy openly mocking Daniel Du Bois for retiring from his fight against Joe Joyce due to a broken orbital bone, which is a very serious injury by the way. Then for Billy to encounter the very same injury and retire on his stool in front of 60,000 spectators and millions of watching around the world.
Canelo acting like he's already knocked him out. And it is over. They have stopped the fight.
Even though there's 3 brothers, 3 champions, I'm only going to discuss the original duo that created the whole Kameda Brothers brand. Most Westerners that have seen Japanese fighters that come to the West to fight or watch an international broadcast, they are constantly informed about how polite and respectful the fighters are. These guys did the complete opposite, which was incredibly uncommon in boxing, especially at their high level of the sport. Koki and Daiki were brash, flamboyant personalities that side of the boxing scene has never seen, and their dad was just as flamboyant as his sons. As their popularity grew rather quickly nationwide due to their persona, the real drama will take place in 2006. 19-year-old Koki against Juan Jose Ladeta for the vacant WBA title. Despite it being an amazing fight and a spirited effort by the heavily inexperienced Koki, he would win by a controversial split decision. In America, this happens all the time. Bad decisions or officiating happens, makes headlines, fans are mad for that week or just that weekend, and it blows over, and nobody is really held accountable for anything. This angered everybody as they thought the decision was rigged, and according to AsianBoxing.info, labeled it the day Japanese boxing died. A poll was ran and 94% believed Juan Jose won, 4% thought it was a draw, and 3% believed Kameda won. There was a wave of complaints of fight fans and just spectators calling the TBS network. Fans were going as far as writing apology letters to the Venezuelan embassy to apologize to Juan Jose. And this is where we'll get the infamous viral video of the dad speaking on the family's criticism on a live TV talk show and a heated debate with boxing legend Guts Ishimatsu. I know there was a video way back in the day of early YouTube showing screenshots of certain figures in attendance that were high-ranking Yakuza members. I'm not sure if that's true, but this was roughly around the time of the Pride FC scandal, so who really knows on that? Just barely a year later, even more controversy. The 18-year-old 10-0 Daiki Kameda gets a shot based on clout alone to fight WBC lineal champion Daisuke Naito. Former lineal and WBC champion Pongsaklak Wongjongkam, who was a mandatory, stepped aside, allowing Daisuke to fight Kameda, but he will have to give him his rematch if he gets past Daiki. That would make it their 4th fight in the ring together. The hype for this fight was massive, met with a lot of trash talk, mostly from Daiki and his father, which just created crazy media coverage. The ring walks followed up to the face-off really set the tone for what would be in store for the fight, with Daiki's dad really getting in there during the face-off. You have an 18-year-old who has not fought any opponents to test him, and he's immediately thrown out there to fight not a contender for the vacant title, not a title holder, but the legitimate champion of that weight class. And homeboy got a boxing lesson.
本当は内藤選手はここで突き放したいみたいな。
今この第1ラウンドの動き、両者どうご覧になる？内藤のパンチっていろんね。
どっから出てくるかわからないんで。そうですね。左を伸ばす。
左のボディ、いいコンビネーター、左のキック。このワン。
To make things worse, Daiki and his team went the worst possible route of using dirty tactics. Thumbing, shouldering, low blows, and the icing on the top throwing Naito down. Naito would finally retaliate, and guess what? Vic Draculich would deduct a point from Naito.
これは1点減点だ。内藤の反則だ。1ポイント減点。
Is it just me, or Draculich is always reffing incredibly dirty fights? Anyways, Daiki is literally in a full-on teenage meltdown mode. Daiki is forcefully trying to take down Naito. The crowd by this point has completely changed sides and started rooting on Naito. After numerous purposeful takedowns, Daiki was finally issued a point deduction in round 12.
1ポイント減点ですね。
Naito would win by a clear shutout in the scorecards. Daiki would face a lengthy suspension, and his dad would be permanently banned working in the corner. Koki, who was also present in the corner, was also disciplined. This was an absolute mess, but holy crap, this made the promotion for the Naito vs Koki fight even bigger than it really should have, drawing historic numbers that is yet to be matched for a boxing event in Japan. The West would brand Koki the Floyd Mayweather of Japan based off of TV ratings. With the father unable to train Koki, he would be trained by now world-renowned trainer Eddie Reynoso coming into the Naito fight. Kameda would end up winning and cementing the Kameda clan style of boxing in the history books and the list of lineal champions. Despite being a mixed bag of hate and love, they still remain well known to this day. In an ad campaign by the candy bar Snickers, they casted Koki and his dad to be in the commercial.
Después de pelear conmigo ya no va a querer pelear más en el boxeo.
That after fighting Julio, he won't want to step in the ring ever again in his life.
Le voy a dar la peor paliza de toda su vida.
He's gonna give him the worst beating he's ever felt in life.
Y lo voy a prometer.
And he says he promises that.
Hogan, known for his trash talking, really selling a fight.
Well, I just hope your dad doesn't get too excited when he sees you laying face down on the mat.
He makes this list, finding a way of not only angering Chavez, but upsetting an entire nation.
With Hogan, I ain't gonna have no pity on Hogan because I'm gonna knock him out because he's got a big mouth. No, a ti sí te voy a arrancar la cabeza. I'm gonna chop your head off.
With the comments that was on record and off the record that he proudly brought up.
The only thing that I said was that Julio fought 60 Tijuana cab drivers, and I don't feel that he's an 84-0 fighter. I mean, that's a pretty puffed up record. He was sparring young little girls' dresses on, is what I said. And I told him I'd be willing to spar him for free to help him out.
I've disliked him since that moment.
132,247 fight fans showed up to the Azteca Stadium to watch Chavez shut up Hogan, possibly an attendance we're not going to see for a long while to a boxing event. Despite all the trash talk and years of built-up animosity between the two, this would go in the history books as one of Chavez's easiest fights.
La izquierda, velocidad, la mano derecha, retrocede el estadounidense de espaldas a la propia esquina de Julio César Chávez, y esto se acabó.
Si estaba peleando como un payaso, como dije delante. No tengo bonito estilo, pero sí tengo una pegada increíble. No lo boxeé porque mi esquina me mandó a que lo boxeara primero.
He hit me, but I was fighting a clown. I didn't knock him out in the first round because my corner told me to take it easy, but I got him.
What can I say here? Mayorga, inside and outside the ring, he's easily one of the biggest villains in the sport.
Don't forget that Oscar didn't beat Shane. He tried twice and he lost.
It's not even a forced narrative where the promotion is like, well, we can't sell tickets where you are pretending to be the humble good guy. We need to turn it up a notch and really promote it. He is literally just doing what he wants to do, say what he wants to say, and then some. He was based as base gets. Besides the physical, brutal nature of Foreman taking the heavyweight division by storm and being blunt to the press,
Beg your pardon?
You would continue boxing even if you would lose over there.
I beg your pardon?
You don't think about losing?
No. Thank you. Nice talking.
really wasn't till the build up to the Ali fight being painted as one of the biggest villains in boxing, to where despite the mass majority not thinking Ali had a chance against George, they all gathered to root for him.
Foreman said, "Why? I'm blacker than Muhammad Ali. Why all this bias?" Yes, Muhammad Ali, he was lighter, but he was a real person. He was genuine. Muhammad Ali could have been even lighter skinned than he was, but for us, he was defending the good cause, for Africans and the whole world.
Due to Ali's stance on human rights, the war, and the type of stand-up guy he was, it resonated with the African people way before his arrival, to where Ali was greeted by many.
And for us, it was extraordinary to see that in the America of that time, someone could take such a position. He may have lost his title, he may have lost millions of dollars, but that's where he gained the esteem of millions of Africans.
The moment Foreman landed and stepped out the plane, where the public saw him for the first time, as in all they knew he was the champ, he was automatically the villain, unintentionally. Foreman greets the Congolese crowd while walking his German Shepherd dog, which offended many, as these dogs were used by the Belgian colonists from 1908 to when Congo became independent in 1960. Belgium being responsible for one of the biggest human rights atrocities of the 1900s.
He arrived with a dog, a German Shepherd, which immediately offended Africans since the Belgians had used Shepherd as police dogs.
Foreman would go on to lose to Ali and retire 3 years later. He would come back 10 years later, but the public's perception of George would stay, as they were unaware what he was doing over the years, as a person physically and spiritually. The public's perception would make a dramatic change after the Holyfield fight.
A mí no me gusta hablar mucho como él, por hoy es el día que hay que hablar. Yo vine aquí a pelear, yo no vine a hacer Miyazaki. El día que Lene pelee conmigo va a tener que pelear.
You can't mention Ricardo Mayorga without mentioning the OG himself, Roberto Duran. Duran is the one who brought this whole macho machismo persona to the mainstream. He was the perfect villain one would love to root for, the villain to root against, which attracted millions of people to watch who he's fighting.
He used it. He used the blaster the night of the fight with me. He looks and he acts like a criminal.
Antonio Margarito is one of the biggest villains for all the wrong reasons. Fans were emotionally and physically invested in the rise of Margarito, a big, heavy-handed welterweight that pressed forward that somewhat resembled a Chavez, a type of fighter the boxing public and Mexican fight fans were waiting for a long time to see. With the sudden retirement of Floyd Mayweather, Paul Williams getting dethroned by Carlos Quintana, the matchup to be the best welterweight couldn't have been put on a better stage than Cotto versus Margarito, your classic Mexico versus Puerto Rico rivalry, and a classic performance put up by both fighters. Margarito will come up victorious in the 11th round, giving birth to a superstar in boxing. Margarito's humble beginnings, rags to riches story will come to an immediate turn for the worse, as on fight day against Mosley, there was plaster discovered in his hand wraps by Mosley's trainer Nazim Richardson.
There was such a distraction about the tape on the wrist. You know, that could be the fake out. I'll show you this to give you something else. So I checked the pad, and when I checked the pad, it felt hard. So then the commissioner felt it. He said, that feels pretty hard. The commissioner flipped it open, and a block fell out of it.
The fight would go on, and Mosley would obliterate Margarito. This would put Margarito's career into question. How long has he been loading his wraps?
But the California State Athletic Commission found sulfur and calcium in the knuckle pads, ingredients that form plaster of Paris. As a result, the commission voted unanimously to suspend both boxer and trainer for a year, pending reinstatement.
Instead of trying to fix what is wrong over time, repairing his image with the public, he sort of just embraced all the negativity. As seen leading up to the Pacquiao and Cotto matches, he rather enjoyed playing the villain role.
Demuestra ahí, ¿para qué estás hablando? Demuéstrala ahí. Así será. Entonces, así será. Entonces, demuéstrala ahí, no hables. Así va a ser.
Espero verlo y sentirlo.
There was quite a bit of moments where the ref could have stopped the fight against Pacquiao. He chose to let it go as Margarito was receiving an absolute pummeling by Pacquiao. I feel like due to the events that took place in 08 and 09 may have led to what we saw in the Pacquiao fight, almost leaving Margarito blind in one eye.
2, I'm gonna beat his ass. 3, that's easy work.
Go ahead, Jack.
4, I'm so flashy.
Yes, sir.
5, I can never be beat.
There you go.
6, I'm getting big money.
Definitely about that.
7, I got the most haters.
Oh, man.
This is 24/7.
All day.
10, good money.
Believe me, I'm the best.
Listen, I'm being honest. I'm being honest. I ain't never met a Pakistani that could fight. I'm being racist. I'm just being honest.
The father and son duo was among the most vilified of the 2010s. The father was pretty much Danny's Dennis Rodman. He would do all the dirty work.
What is your response to all the attention your father has gotten?
I just let him be him. That's how he's always been. And I just sit back and enjoy it.
Getting under the skin of the opposing fighters and trainers by being as belligerent as possible. All while Danny came across as the soft-spoken gentleman type.
Garcia, you've carried all of the pre-fight publicity with your incendiary comments. And you must realize that the reaction among boxing media is not terribly favorable. I mean, you're being excoriated, and people are calling you an idiot, etc. So what was the point? What exactly are you looking for?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter
what they call me.
I'm sure you had a purpose. What was the
Well, the purpose is this. It's the truth. The truth is the truth, and it hurts. When you speak the truth, people don't like the truth.
What is the truth?
The truth is that he got knocked out, and he blamed him some crazy things.
Angel's pre-fight warfare will make its mark big in their upset victory against Mir Khan.
They calling me racist, but
Well, I mean, one of your big lines is, quote, I've never met a Pakistani who can fight.
Well, that's my comment. That's my opinion. It's like I never met a Puerto Rican that can't swim.
Most of our viewers have never met a Pakistani. What's the point?
It's not a point to it. I'm just saying what my
So
49 years of my life.
You say an entire nation of people, quote, can't fight?
Well, listen, they burn American flags every day. Nobody say nothing.
Well, a lot of people are saying plenty about it.
I'm defending America, where we at right now, where we live at.
Danny wouldn't become as hated as his father till well after the Khan fight. It all took place following after the controversial Herrera fight in 2014. Danny had blatantly avoided a fight with mandatory Victor Postol. Instead of trying to unify against newly crowned IBF champion Lamont Peterson, he will accept to fight lightweight and unranked junior welterweight Rod Salka. Salka was unranked by all bodies, yet the fight was a sanctioned 12-round bout. If not for ESPN raising their concerns of obvious corruption taking place, of a massive, and I mean massive mismatch generating outrage, this fight would have went on as a 12-round championship bout.
And qualifications you have to meet to fight in a title fight. One of them is that you have to be either a top 10 rated contender, a former champion, or a current champion, among other things. He doesn't meet any of those criteria. So how is he getting this fight?
Can anyone say Al Heyman? 15 guys in each one of those organizations are rated. He's not one of them. He's not even close. What is the sense of having ratings when you don't live up to your own rules?
Due to the outrage, it was moved to a 10-round non-title bout, and the fight would still go forward. Danny would brutally put Salka away. This was a very preventable situation. Due to ego and piss-poor matchmaking, this led a fair majority of the fight fans to turn on Danny, labeling him a cherry picker. This was probably the highest level of cherry picking I've seen.
You are the worst WBC champion on this planet, motherfucker. This is who I want to know. I don't know who you are fighting. Nobody knows who you're fighting. You're fighting at nobody. People call you cherry picker. You are the biggest cherry picker on this planet, motherfucker. You call yourself Danny the Sweet Garcia. Your name should be Danny the Farmer Garcia.
No matter what Danny posted on Instagram, his post was bombarded with cherries. This was before the time you could delete comments or add a filter to disallow people from commenting certain keywords, phrases, and so on. So a good 90% of the comments were just fight fans leaving cherries on his post. This will carry on till the Keith Thurman fight.
Stop fighting those eBay fighters, motherfucker. These nobodies, and fight better opponents. You ugly ass Ali G looker like farmer, motherfucker.
It was to a lesser extent due to posts being flagged or users being blocked outright for the cherry bombs. However, outside of the cherries, Danny had a reputation by that point having questionable scorecards. You had the Ashley Theophane fight, the first Morales fight. Morales under the assumption that the fight was even or he was up by a little bit, to find out since the fight was open scored, he was down huge on the scorecards.
We're losing the damn fight. All the rounds. They gave him all the rounds. Only round one judge is giving you. All the rounds are lost. This son of a bitch, you gotta finish him. Even if you finish the fight, they can give you it if you're winning. The judges are gonna give it to him.
This forced him to overcommit despite having success. However, this would result for him to get dropped and be more in the hole on the scorecards.
Oh! Down goes Eric Morales. Stunned.
Fast forward to the Herrera fight, and then lastly the Peterson fight, where Garcia was caught on a hot mic saying to Peterson he lost. Which this is why Thurman said what he said in the post-fight, stating there's no robberies happening tonight, in reference to all the questionable officiating throughout Danny's career.
One time became 2 times, baby. Ain't no robberies happening tonight.
Despite all the grimy stuff happening behind closed doors, the officiating and Danny's dad, this made the Thurman fight huge coming in. I don't think it would have been this big any other way, because he's not really that much of a villain. He's more of a nice guy, but the people around him and then also his dad had placed him in this villain role. Bernard Hopkins, who wasn't flashy or entertaining in the ring due to his conservative defensive style, highly benefited from shock value to generate attention and hype for promotions, as well as being highly skilled in public speaking and self-promotion.
Don't too much care about the pound for pounds. The Roy Jones and Pernell Whitaker, they can deal with that on themselves. But I want to be the undisputed middleweight champion of the world. We haven't had one since the 80s. I'm focused, I'm back, and I just want to prove to the world by my performance. That's all I want to be judged by, is my performance, that I'm the best middleweight in the world. And if I'm not, then I'll pack my bags. All right, bro, we're going to show you a replay.
It is a skill that is practically going extinct, especially with the Gen Z generation, as many who are faced with tough questions are quick to crash out, gaslight, deflect, and find an exit whenever under the most minuscule amount of pressure.
Particularly after the first fight. Just talk about Robert Allen and what went on in the second round. When the politics put me on the shelf for 9 months waiting for a mandatory that's supposed to took place in 90 days after January 31st of 1998, and it didn't take place until August. You tell me, is it corruption in the sport? And then you tell me, let's talk about Robert Allen? That fight is over with. It's done. That's tomorrow.
Bernard was hated by many because of what he says.
I don't know. Mexicans and Puerto Ricans supposed to be proud people. I respect them. I got a lot of friends. But I want them to know that they heroes don't want to fight Bernard Hopkins. I'm 35 years old. I'll be 36 January 15th. And I'm just getting on Geritol and I'm feeling pains. And they still won't fight me.
What are you hoping happens?
Well, first of all, no more guaranteed knockouts, but I'll win. I will tell you I will win the tournament. I don't care if it's Joppy. I don't care if it's Keith. No, Keith's done. Trinidad, I will be rooting for both of them. But you know, I got a lot of African Americans behind me to take on them Puerto Ricans.
Just promise me you won't be a 4-round fighter.
Tune in, guys.
If you don't be a 4-round fighter, it's gonna be a hell of a fight. Because I'm gonna press you. I'm gonna press you like Marvin Hagler did with Tommy Hearns. I'm gonna press you, I'm gonna make you fight, and we're gonna see if you adjust it.
You guys want to shake hands?
We ain't shake hands beginning. How we gonna shake hands?
You have no respect. His mom didn't raise him the right way.
You gotta earn respect.
You guys don't want respect. Come on, man.
I'm your elder.
Even the war is respect, man. I'm going to war. Even the war is respect.
The only thing you're gonna beat up is this table, so keep knocking on it.
Yeah, exactly.
But also had hardcore supporters who appreciated his anti-establishment persona to the industry of boxing.
That when things happen doesn't mean that if I'm not happy with it, that don't mean I should quit and get out of business because I'm not happy with it. I'm a guy that stand up for what's right. And there's a lot of people that's in their grave and got for standing up for what they believe is right. You might have thought they were silly for doing it. I don't know your opinion on that. You telling me I shouldn't be in the sport if I don't agree with the laws and the politics that goes in the sport, and I say you're wrong. I say that's the problem.
What are you going to do to change it?
It's very important about my power. By being the middleweight champion of the world, one of the best in the world. If you don't want to listen, you would give me that time. That's the reason you're doing this interview now. Thank you.
When Trinidad was making his middleweight run, Don King wanted to have a tournament tailored to Trinidad to become undisputed at middleweight. This was Hopkins' chance at the spotlight after rigorous grinding, mandatory after mandatory, title defense after title defense. This was his ticket to be talked about alongside Marvin Hagler as a middleweight champion. Hopkins would make it to the finals against the favorite Tito Trinidad, and Bernard would put everything he has learned in self-promotion to the test. This would generate an insane amount of hype for this fight, with Hawkins disrespecting the flag of Puerto Rico, then to double down and do it again in Puerto Rico, where Hawkins just barely made it out of the venue and rushed out the country.
He said a couple of words and banged down, "When you threw my flag, he broke the treaty." So now I went into my act, but serious. I gotta counter that. I gotta do something so risky. I hope be world news. I grabbed the flag from his hand. It literally for a second was quiet. When that flag hit that ground. The fight was won that evening or afternoon at the Roberto Coliseum. Not actually because I put the flag down. It was won because they let me leave. So they was taking me up to the balcony where I had to jump down in between the bleachers. Like I had to get down to the dugout, basically. We're trying to lock the door, but the door is like a hard move. They pushing the door, we holding the door. We gotta hold this door like this. Around the time that we needed to get out of there and get straight to the airport, which they took us motorcade, cops on both sides, with fans in cars. They was on our ass going to the airport.
This would make his win against Tito huge, even bigger, since this was the first prize fight after 9/11, which he had gained a lot of supporters on how he rose up and his love for his home nation.
But in my heart, I knew that I would get another chance in life to redeem myself from what I used to be into what I am now. I can show example not only for boxing, but for people in general. Larry, I am the American dream. I am the American story.
Outside of quick-witted responses to Larry Merchant, the shock value Hawkins didn't fully return to the Calzaghe promotion in 2007. Joe wanted a fight overseas. He could no longer make super middleweight, and the best man in the weight class was Bernard Hopkins, who was now the ring light heavyweight champion. Since this was before social media and Twitter, Joe found the perfect time to call out Hopkins face to face during the fight week of Hatton versus Mayweather, since Hopkins was working the fight as a promoter. He had told no one about this and flew out there on his own dollar, since his promotion and manager had other plans for him based on what they thought was feasible. The following events would lead to the famous casino video and what single-handedly sold the fight not only in America, but in the UK.
I would never let a white boy beat me.
You're gonna lose. If you fight, you will lose. If you fight me, you will lose.
I'll never let a white boy beat me.
You will lose, man.
And you can call it any statement you want. Anybody can print that. I would never lose to a white person.
Going by Joe's accounts, he would have never been able to get a Hopkins fight if not for that altercation. Though this sold the fight well.
Remember the weigh-ins, and I've been thousands of people queue up for a weigh-in, and all the Welsh flags, Welsh banners, and Hopkins come out, and they were booing him, and he must have looked in the crowd thinking, I'm fighting in my country, and it's like all Brits and that.
And helped propel Calzaghe's career to Hall of Fame status. This would negatively affect Hopkins' fan base. Despite all the success and great promotions to follow, I don't think Hopkins ever recovered from the remarks he had made. Eric Morel was a hell of an amateur Golden Gloves champion and made the '96 Olympic team. He would go pro following after the Olympics, raking up 26 wins before becoming the WBA flyweight champion, making 5 defenses before being dethroned. He would move up to Superfly and challenge Martin Castile and lose by unanimous decision. Moments after the defeat, Morel would be convicted of, and possibly due to his background, he was given 2 years of prison and with an additional 2 years under supervision till 2009. Morel was released from prison in 2007, which he would resume his boxing career. This, by all means, did not sit well with the general public and fight fans. So pretty much every fight, Morel received boos.
Known as Little Hands of Steel, introducing Eric Morel.
Morel would become the WBO interim champion. However, due to a string of events, his first title fight back would get canceled. Due to the climate at bantamweight, he was made to wait 2 years till 2012 to fight for a title, which was already brought into question because Abner Mares was not ranked at super bantamweight, neither was Morrell, and these two are fighting for the vacant WBC super bantamweight title. Morrell was gift wrapped a title shot, however, the fans didn't care as the future star Abner Mares was going to send him into retirement. Mares would win very wide on the cards. Morrell would get another gift title shot to face IBF bantamweight champion Leo Santa Cruz, which Leo would force Morrell to retire from his stool in the 5th round, and that would be Morrell's final fight. As a quick intermission, I will hastily discuss the worst villain characters I came across. Of recent, Tim Bradley attempting to trash talk and be a villain was so bad that when he was under Showtime, the marketing team hilariously made a commercial where Bradley was making fun of himself as the worst trash talker in boxing. I can't find it when making this video, but if you can, it's a funny promo. Horrible villain. Everyone wants to base their villain / anti-hero persona off a Mayweather and Mike Tyson and just not think outside the box and be themselves. Shakur fails on every category of delivering as a villain. He is horrible at talking to the press, not even remotely close to being short-witted, savage, and intelligent like a Mike Tyson or Bernard. Mayweather was actually horrible at that.
Anson from across the pond in the UK. Oh. Very interesting question here. Why don't you step in the ring with Miguel Cotto?
He lives in Puerto Rico, and you must realize, he's with Bob Arum. He's a grumpy old man. So once he becomes a CEO and get his own fan base, and get on the level of a Floyd Mayweather, and then you have a great matchup. Until then, I'm gonna continue to dominate and do me.
However, if you push him into the gaslighting and deflection position hard enough, you will get a hell of a self-promotional crash out. Shakur can't do neither, unless it's on Twitter. Even at that, it does not help his stock. To make things worse, he does not take accountability as a role he chose because he's quick to play the victim when it fails. If he wants to be the villain so bad, he needs to rebrand himself. He needs to stop acting like he's going to knock out every guy, the fight isn't going to go to distance, and promote himself in a manner where he will make all your favorite fighters look stupid and shut them out on the scorecards. His rivals can say whatever and call him a runner. Well, he can joke about how they're too slow to box with him, make fun of their slow footwork, pretty much anything that can show off that they don't have the offense to be in the ring with Shakur, neither the defense, because Shakur will land at will. The consumer has already witnessed the Floyd era, so the whole I'm ready to die in this ring and get the knockout when damn well you don't have the strength and power to do so, they're not going to buy into it. It's really outdated by this point. Now in his recent fight, that was a fun watch. However, if he has to fight like that to prove a point and receive unnecessary damage and tighter scorecards in the process, it's not worth keeping that type of character around. Andrade is possibly the worst, and it ruined his career. He wanted to go the Bernard Hopkins route without doing absolutely none of the heavy lifting Bernard had to do, get into the position, and become relevant where he can earn that big fight. While Hopkins was one of the most active middleweight title holders, maintained relevancy and earning support from hardcore fans because of his skills and anti-establishment persona, very WWE Attitude Era like. Andrade, on the other hand, fought very little, found ways to drag out not fighting his mandatory opponents, all while demanding to fight the best when little to no one in the general public knew who he was, and when he didn't get his way, he will blame it on race. After almost a decade of fumbled opportunities with lack of accountability, he was gift-wrapped a huge opportunity to face mandatory and rising star Janibek. So much hype was behind this guy and a lot was invested into him. I personally had Andrade winning this fight. Janibek was green on the stage. Andrade at this point was actually active, so he would be sharp and ready. However, very similar to the Charlo fight, Andrade finds himself out of a potential come-out fight. Janibek did not look good in his title fight, and he showed a lot of vulnerabilities that Andrade could have easily exposed.
I feel people are following me and watching me.
You been feeling like that too? I've been feeling like that too.
Absolutely.
Floyd, I've been hearing to click on the goddamn phone. I think the feds is on this phone.
Hold on, let me check this line.
I'm hearing the same click you hearing.
Yeah, man. Them motherfuckers in there listening on the conversation, so don't say nothing you ain't supposed to say, okay?
All right, I'll holler at you later on.
All right, talk to you.
All right, one.
Due to Mayweather's squeaky clean, Sugar Ray Leonard-like image being tarnished, in order for a guy like him, a defensive-first fighter, to be marketable and succeed as one of the front-running successors to being the face of the sport, he was forced to play the villain role.
Atlantic City, I'm gonna step on him. I'm gonna crush him. Y'all can mark my word to this. I'm gonna crush him. He's a C+ fighter. I'm an A+ fighter. Come Saturday night next week, all the fans tune in because I'm gonna dominate. This guy is flat-footed, he swing wild. I'm not worried about who his trainer is because his trainer can't get in there and fight for him. The fans in Atlantic City can't get in there and fight for him. I'm ready, mentally, physically. I want all the fans to tune in because I'm gonna treat him like he's a C+ fighter. I'm gonna dominate, I'm gonna dog this fighter.
Mike Tyson really said it best. It's no point trying to be good when no matter what you do, they will always look at you another way. Mayweather took that role and he just rolled with it.
They were so worried about things that was going on in my personal life. This guy is a hypocrite. Nobody speaks on his alcohol-related incidents, but they always want to speak on personal things that goes on in my life. Only thing I ever try to do is be the best in the sport of boxing. If they look at me as the bad guy, so be it. You know, just tune in June 25th. It's Thunder versus Lightning, and we all know thunder make noise, but lightning strikes. I'm gonna take this guy in the deep waters and I'm gonna drown him. And if he talks some trash, I may cut it to 4.
Even in matchups where he came off the least villain-like, he was still seen as the bad guy.
Saturday night, I won't hold my hands up. I'm gonna put you on your ass.
Once you've been at this level for so long, you know, I'm never nervous, never worried about nothing. I believe in my skills. I believe in my talent. If no one believes in Floyd Mayweather, I believe in me.
I think Floyd learned a lot from his former best friend, 50 Cent, when it came to being petty, to get under the skin of the fighters.
Stole my bag, took my belongings, a few books I had in there.
He said I stole his training gear. Okay, we'll do something about it May 5th. That's all I gotta say. Okay, I stole your, now do something about it. Do something about it.
Perfect example, when he was fighting Hatton, he downplayed Hatton's support that had flown out to where Hatton was visibly bothered and irritated by the events taking place.
It's crap to watch. That's why they're there singing Ricky Hatton and not Floyd Mayweather.
This is a Mayweather experience. All the fans came over from, the British fans came over just to be a part of the Mayweather experience.
So you're telling me all them people that are singing There's Only One Ricky Hatton and who are you? They're all here for Floyd Mayweather? He's in Cloud Cuckoo landing. Just bring the belt Saturday. It's going back to Manchester.
Now I can't verify if this is true. It was told to me by a guy who was friends with Amir Khan's team that Floyd-Khan fight never happened because it was over a pair of exclusive boxing boots. So back during Khan's peak, when he was calling out Floyd Mayweather, when he was the junior welterweight champion, he had a huge deal with Reebok. He had special designed boxing boots by them. It was only for him, however, with Khan's consent, someone else can wear them. Well, Floyd is a massive sneakerhead, and these boxing boots were actually good. Floyd had requested for Khan's approval, and Khan denied it. Khan would eventually lose everything to Danny Garcia, get gatekept from doing anything productive on PBC, and when he had managed to become the WBC silver champion and ranked #1 by the organization, the ball was now in Floyd's hands. Floyd would get the last laugh of leading on Khan for almost 2 years, have his final fight with Andre Berto instead, and retire. If this is actually true, this is petty enough to make 50 Cent proud. Anyways, the best aspect to all of this, outside of the Baltimore fight, which there is validity.
For all the negative press, when y'all wrote about me in the past, said I done things that I didn't do, they tore my name down, tore my family down.
He never acted like he was a victim. He didn't even play the victim when HBO did him wrong with the Ortiz fight, not talking about the numerous headbutts by Ortiz, then cut the replay short, not showing the part where Cortez clearly signals the fight to resume.
Now here's the apology. Watch Cortez look away. Watch Ortiz talking to Mayweather.
He played the role of the villain to the very end.
And all the fans that pay to see me win, y'all know I love you all. And all the ones that pay to see me lose, You're not getting a refund on your pay-per-view money. 'Cause it's non-refundable.
This is why he got his own WWE pay-per-view. Pretty Boy and the Money character, not the man, but the character, he's definitely up there as one of the best to do it. What falls short from greatness when it comes to live media, he was always good when the interviews were scripted, and if they weren't scripted, he made them memorable after being backed up to where he would crash out.
That's great.
You want to be Howard Cosell?
No, not really, but I know where you're going with that.
I forgot Howard Cosell's a legend.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, Howard Cosell is fine. I have nothing against him. I'm saying
you can learn
pay
something.
attention. Oh, I could learn something by knowing who the real champions are, and it hurts your credibility and your standing in the sport by saying this is a champion.
One of HBO's best fighters, buy pay-per-view, come out because it's worth it.
If you look at Howard Cosell or even old school wrestling promos, they were supposed to ask questions that the fans are thinking. They know of your situation, but they pretend to have no knowledge of it, so you can explain it for yourself to the uneducated viewers who don't know.
All of the fellows that I've been fighting lately, would you say that they were in shape?
Yeah, except for Mathis. He didn't look real good to me.
Well, how did he go 12 rounds with me?
Because you weren't doing anything.
wasn't
You were
doing
slow-footed, the
nothing. You should
hand
have
and
been
foot
in
speed
there.
gone, the
If
trick.
I was hitting
As your
you-
manager, Angelo Dundee,
if I
your
was
trainer,
hitting
sitting
you-
right there, told me
if I was
earlier, I don't know
hitting
what
you-
we're going to
if
do
I
to
was
get the
hitting
lad
you,
serious.
Look,
The power, the politics to be, as well as self-promoting yourself. And if you want to throw some jabs at a reporter and your rival, you have that range. But for some reason in the modern day of this sport, this is seen as hating. They're very simple questions, yet due to the lack of skills in this category on tough and simple topics he should have been coached on, he doesn't have the skills to BS his way around it convincingly.
The guy who said that Arturo Gatti was a paper champion at 140. So if you win that fight, how is this the fourth world title in as many weight classes? You were never a champ at 140.
Arturo Gatti is world champion again, like I told the fans and I told the people. Arturo Gatti is nothing but the truth, and he fought the truth.
That's not what you were saying, Floyd.
A lot of times you guys that write about the fight or commentate about the fight don't know too much about boxing.
No, that's not true. Not the guy you're talking to right now. Not true. I hold true to the guy who beats the guy who is the champ. And Costa Tszyu lost that fight to Ricky Hatton. He's the champ at 140, and that was all there is to it.
I got to ask you a question. How many fights have you had? Please tell me.
You know what? I haven't had any professional fights.
Well, you don't know nothing about boxing.
You know what?
You don't
I
know
know who the champ is. Hey, who beat Costa Tszyu? Who beat Costa Tszyu? Let me ask you the question.
You have to have a fight to know something about boxing.
So he would resort to saying things like, you don't box and you don't know nothing about boxing.
My job, and you have the same opinions that you have now, you wouldn't be doing this very long. Because you have to speak the truth, Floyd, and you're not doing it right now.
I'll stomp on Costa Tszyu.
You did
he
what?
had a chance. He never brought my name up. You know that.
No, but you didn't fight him. And he stopped Costa Tszyu, and he became the world champion at 140. So you beating Arturo Gatti doesn't make you the champ.
He beat Costa Tszyu when Costa Tszyu was over the hill.
But he had the title. Maybe you should have fought him.
Became champion.
But then
no
you should
matter
have
what
fought
you
him.
say.
And also, now, what about Zab Judah? He got the world title at 140 by knocking out Zab Judah. That's the guy you're fighting. So he's still up there. Hatton beat the guy who you're fighting.
Fast forward, it was a bit hard to watch when he was trying to promote his supplement products recently in February on Fox Business and on the Jimmy Fallon show. He had 2 attempts on 2 different networks and it fell flat.
Let me see what else. This is the monohydrate.
We all got to stay hydrated. So,
yeah.
And we also got we got many other supplements.
Yeah, here we go.
But they're great. And
in conclusion, I believe if Floyd was the Sugar Ray Leonard type from before, he would have never been as profitable and groundbreaking as a prize fighter in this day and age in the sport. For a guy who has generated all his success to being as a villain, he gained a lot of love and appreciation from the fans of the fighters he had beaten. It's cool seeing all the love Floyd got when he went to the UK.
I go to the boxing gym and train 5,000 or 6,000 people show up. You know what I mean? That type of love. When I seen that type of love when I first got to the gym, it just, honestly, chill bumps got on my arm. I was like, oh man, they appreciate the art of boxing. They really appreciate the art, and they really study boxing. They really studies boxing.
especially going to the Philippines. The controversial comments he made back in 2010/2011 was a massive story at the time in the Philippines. It was widespread outrage. Floyd was public enemy #1 for the wrong reasons. It had angered an entire nation. It had turned a friendly rivalry into something absolutely nasty. But the fight finally did happen. It's over, and people moved on. The Filipino people and just people in that region in general are very forgiving people, and when Floyd came to the Philippines, he was given a champion's welcome to where it ended up turning to several trips back, which was very wholesome to see.
I'm fresh, I'm flying flashy. I came in, man, I did my thing. Hey, if they didn't stop the fight, he was gonna go to sleep anyway. Rockabye, baby. Negative, man. He couldn't hit me. He couldn't hit me. He was shadow boxing. Listen to me, you seen I came out with French Montana. I ain't worrying about nothing.
When it comes to the role and character, I think Broner is better than Floyd because he's a lot better when it came to Floyd's flaws mentioned earlier. When it comes to Americans, Broner, Spence Jr., and Terrence Crawford are the best natural talkers and self-promoters in the sport of the 2010s and on. The level of petty is multiplied with Broner, from his epic post-fight interviews, trolling his team in the process.
I'm sorry, I have to do this. I have to do this on television, worldwide, international. I just got into a new relationship, but I know true love at first sight. On national TV, in front of the whole world. Arian, Nicole Gazaway, can you brush my hair? I scared everybody.
Scared everybody, boy.
The Paulie beef.
I beat Paulie. I left with his belt and his girl.
Adrian, congratulations on winning the title.
Hold on, wait,
Don't brag about taking my side piece. Don't brag about taking my side piece, though.
Jay-Z Beyonce beef, his Instagram reel rants.
Bunny ran through you. Yeah, Robert Easter ran through you, boy. Hold on, Dominic Golden ran through you. Hold on, Montana Love ran through you, boy.
He was one of the best characters I've seen in the sport. Unfortunately, the case with Vicente Escobedo cemented Broner to be the villain based on his careless actions, knowing this fight won't get canceled as this is Vicente's last shot at a title, last big payday, and he now has a baby to take care at home.
What's next for you?
Go back home, spend time with my daughter and my wife, and see what's next.
You're very upset about the loss?
Outside of that, that's probably the only reason why one will hate the villain character in the man instead of just the character.
I was away from my family, my wife, and I don't know, and then just to come here and not get a fair fight, kind of really I got really emotional, as you can see, but I'm here to fight, so I keep the fight.
You always give an honest effort and acquit yourself well. Thanks and good luck going forward. Jim?
Difference between Broner and Mayweather was Broner was that guy all the time to where it bled outside the ring, resulting in him to get in trouble a lot compared to Floyd. If Broner found a way to turn it off, have a clean but fun, in moderation, out of the ring life, he may have been able to get pretty close to his nickname, being all about billions, because despite being in defeat and loads of trouble, he was still offered a $40 million deal by Rock Nation in 2015.
A high school graduate with a quick mind for mathematics, King had been working in the illegal numbers business since age 18. In the early 1960s, he was the biggest numbers boss in Cleveland and was grossing $15,000 a day. A previously undisclosed FBI document reports that King was kicking back a portion of his profits to the Cleveland Mafia in return for protection of his numbers operation.
Undisputedly the biggest villain in the sport as the character and as the man.
How did you a man in a fist fight?
Well, we was fighting one another and we was kicking one another and his head hit the concrete and it must have been a pretty bad blow, which I've suffered deep contrition for since it happened. But nevertheless, I was instrumental in the fatality of a fellow human being whom happened to be one of my personal friends. Unfortunately for me, they found out that I was Don King, the guy that was running the numbers.
Pretty much the Vince McMahon of boxing. Outside of the Diddy things, everything Vince has done, Don has done.
King had joined a boycott group led by Arthur Ashe. But at the same time, King tried to convince David Bay, a heavyweight he was promoting, to fight in South Africa.
However, if you can tell me something that Don has done to his stable that is worse than what Vince did when it came to the Owen Hart incident, please leave in the comments. In the beginning, he was seen as a very interesting, colorful character, a very ambitious businessman who wanted to establish a new order in the sport.
King arrived on the scene at a time when most of the fighters were black, but all of the promoters were white. At a time of rising black consciousness, Elbaum advised King that he could take over boxing. It was the right time, but King was the wrong man.
Where he would be credited for putting on the massive Rumble in the Jungle and Thrilla Manila.
In a brilliant stroke of salesmanship, King convinced the government of Zaire to put up $10 million to finance the fight, even though the country was mired in poverty.
Followed up by massive cultural events that would give boxing the reputation it has today when it comes to historic matchups of the best fighting the best. Without Don, his charisma and flamboyancy, receiving funding for a Rumble in the Jungle would have never happened.
This fight came into existence because of Don King's desire to be famous, to break out of the pack. It was the world to him. He was either going to become an enormously prominent man, at the least, in American life, or he was going to go back to obscurity again if it failed.
However, getting to a level where Don had taken the sport worldwide, as he did, doesn't come without collateral damage. Burned down bridges with close friends that helped him in the beginning, misleading fighters in deals they shouldn't take, taking advantage of the financially illiterate by offering to pay them less but in untraceable cash instead of check payments, and many more.
You could offer a fighter $5 million, or you could give him $500,000 in cash, and he would grab the cash.
It's just like anybody would do.
In some cases, the fighters should be held accountable for their poor financial decisions. Mike Tyson is a perfect example. He was the most paid athlete with exclusive Showtime deal, and he not only threw it away, but he crashed the boxing economy and crippled Showtime in the process when he bit Holyfield. Very easy to put blame on Don for all his mishaps because what the public already perceives of Don, so Mike doesn't really have to take any accountability for all the mindless decisions leading up to that moment, the events that followed ending in massive debt. Everyone uses Mike Tyson as a poster child, but no one talks about Larry Holmes, a man who built his dream home when he was getting ready to fight Ali in 1980, to still be living in that same home he built to start a family, now into retirement age. Play the game and don't let the game play you. Larry knew the man and the character of Don King, and he didn't allow Don King to play him. The biggest issue is taking advantage of those who didn't even have the chance to begin with to learn the game.
The fight generated millions of dollars in revenue, including a total gate of $2 million and $1.7 million more for the American television rights. But when Tim Witherspoon got home, he received a check for only $90,000. King then subtracted expenses, the biggest being $250,000 for his stepson Carl. To make matters worse, Witherspoon found out that the challenger, Frank Bruno, got paid $900,000.
No matter what, the degree of dirty, petty, or evil, intentionally or unintentionally, I don't think there's a single promotion in the sport that hasn't been hated and made the villain of by the fight fans. It just comes with the territory. Some of the good things they do outweigh the dirty gray area things they committed.
The best the feds could ever do was indict King in 1984 for tax evasion. King was acquitted of all charges. 6 months later, he flew the jurors to London to see the Bruno Witherspoon fight as a token of his appreciation.
In this case, the bad has completely outweighed the good.
When they put him in exile, I used to have drawers full of money. And so I let Ollie would come to my house, and I would say, I said, be the cream. You say, you can't turn your hand over. You got to, whatever you can pick up out of that's yours.
Madison Square Garden deserves a lot of credit for putting up some money. Tito Trinidad deserves much of the credit because he's the one that makes this happen. And to give the devil, the true devil, his due, Don King deserves the credit for putting it together as well.
I had to save the worst for last, and I don't think much people even know about this. The humble beginnings as a struggling fighter and feather duster salesman had a Cinderella run to becoming the welterweight champion. Not many people know of what happened to Carlos after falling off and the loss to Canelo in 2010. He will continue to fight here and there before retiring in 2014. In between 2014 and up to 2016, Carlos was committing absolutely disgusting acts towards his children from when she was 7 years old to 9. Carlos would be arrested in 2016, which they let him rot in jail till his sentencing in 2019, before giving him an 18-year prison sentence. As he was being hauled off, he was flicking off the press. In 2020, footage surfaced of the prison riots taking place in the exact prisons Carlos was in. There were word had spread the man seen in the footage of the incident was Carlos, and he was unalived. As quick as this news came out about it, it was quickly debunked that Carlos was still alive and he was serving his 18-year sentence. Coming into 2025, there are no further updates on Carlos Baldomir.